Hello everyone! Okay, so this morning was the perfect morning to film this video because I broke out like crazy all over my face. I have these little babies everywhere. I'm not eating for one, I'm eating for 6 today. And I thought it was the perfect time to show you some of these new launches, I guess you could say, but also some of my favorite products. In my last video, I showed you my dewy makeup tutorial, which was a super light, super easy makeup tutorial, but sometimes, you know, especially like when I have breakouts like this, or I'm going out and I really want more of a full coverage, I'm going to show you what I do to really give me that full coverage look, but still without looking heavy or like having too much of a mask. I think can be really common when it comes to that. And also like a long wearing full coverage foundation look. I find a lot of the time that because the products have a bit more pigment to them, you run into the problem that it starts creasing as well, and so that you definitely need something that's long wearing but gives you a full coverage. And this is also going to be a little bit more of a matte foundation look compared to the other one, which was extremely dewy. So when you're starting your foundation, I always suggest that you should start priming. Your foundation is gonna last so much longer when you prime your skin. And I'm gonna show you some of three of my most favorite primers. Let's do this one first. Number one, I would definitely recommend is Smashbox Photo Finish Primer. I have been using this product for years. I think when I first started working for Smashbox so long ago, I was introduced to this product and it really changed my life. It's an oil-free primer, and it really Smashbox was the originators of primer. It was kind of their little claim to fame. So this is definitely one of my favorite primers. Smashbox recently launched a new primer in their primer family, which was Smashbox Hydrating Primer. I really like this one, but I actually use them both together, which is kind of crazy. I feel like that's a lot of primer, but the hydrating one is really awesome for smoothing out the skin, but on a level of if you're really dry. I find that sometimes if in the winter time I get a bit more dry, even though I am kind of an oily combination skin. And I find that when you put this one on, it really smooths over. So if you get those little flakes, in certain areas your pores are getting kind of rough, when you apply this primer, I find it really smooths over top of it and the makeup doesn't get all cakey and crunchy. Though I still find that it does happen with the original primer. I'm pretty sure that there is a bit of hyaluronic acid in this primer as well, so it does help to plump the skin back up and help to smooth it out. And last but not least, my kind of newest favorite primer I tried is the oil-free primer La Base from Lancome. It's honestly, I actually find that it wears longer than the Smashbox one. And I like the texture of the Lancome one as well. It's also even more smooth than the Smashbox one. I find the Smashbox, when it gets to a certain level in the container, I find it starts getting a bit thicker and it loses that watery, really fluid silicone feel. So those are my 3 favorite primers. So today I'm actually going to be using the Lancome primer today to start off with my base. When you're using a primer, I always say little is more. With primers, I'm going to start off with 1 pump and just kind of see where that goes. You know, sometimes I usually need 2, but I usually start in the center of my face and then work my way out. If you apply too much primer on the skin, you're going to notice that it's going to ball. And it's going to look almost like your skin is coming off, but it's totally not. It's just that you've applied too much primer and that the silicone is sticking together. The cool thing with primers is that you want to make sure that the primers that you're using are probably a bit more of a higher quality. I'm using another pump here. Depending on what company and what primer it is, it also depends on the grade of silicone that's in the product. Lower end primers can also have a tendency to use different types of silicone. So that it will actually could clog your pores, or it could cause you congestion, so that the primer is sort of sitting on top of the pore, and that the skin is almost growing over top of it, if that makes sense, and then you get these little tiny bumps all over the face. It's really, really not fun when you get those, because you have to do some sort of peel to get them to go away. The great thing I know about both of these products is that they use like a silicone based, so it's actually a really, really high quality silicone, so that you don't have to worry about any breakouts or problems with that. And then again, like they're pulp oil free as well. So I've just put a primer all over my face, and I've just kind of blended it in. If you've never worn a primer before, it makes your skin feel so soft. Like, I love it. I remember the first time I ever used primer, and it was like, I couldn't believe how like amazing my makeup looked. I always wonder why. I'm like, why is it throughout the middle of the day my makeup's getting all cakey in my pores and it's not staying where it's supposed to? Well, when you use a primer, it definitely stops that from happening. So next, I am going to do is show you some of my favorite like full coverage foundations, I would say. I have 3 here right now. So I am going to be showing you. I really love the MAC Longwear. It is a great long wearing foundation. It's kind of a buildable coverage. Like, it starts off more, I guess, like a light to medium, and then the more you apply, the better coverage that you get. The good thing I like about this one, again, is because it is long wearing already in the formula. Like, I find that it really lasts a long time when you do wear it. But I definitely still recommend putting a primer underneath of it. The Vichy Dermablend. Now, the Vichy Dermablend is definitely one of those products that it is like, it's meant to be like a full coverage. It really, really does cover really, really well. And yeah, it like, your skin looks amazing when you put this on. But sometimes I find it's a little bit harder to use because it is a fuller coverage. So if you're not used to it, it definitely takes some practice. And last but not least, my newest favorite product, it just actually launched. It's called the Benefit Hello Flawless Oxygen Wow Foundation. I don't even know where to start with this. The texture of this foundation is amazing. You put it on and it's almost like you don't even have foundation on. Like, you actually, like, it's so finely milled that it's so soft, and it almost feels like it's a primer. It's really kind of cool. Like, it's so smooth. The great thing with this product is you can use it almost like a tinted moisturizer if you want to. Super, super sheer. You add another layer, medium coverage. Add another layer, full coverage. This is like a buildable foundation. I love foundations like this because it's very similar to the MAC, the Pro Longwear, with their foundation, because you can keep adding more, but it's not going to get heavier, it's not going to get cakey, it's just going to give you more coverage where you need it. So this is the awesome, probably one of my new favorites for like a full coverage foundation, but also because it's so multi-purpose, you can use it on many other things. I'm just going to show you because I think it's super cute. When you do get your box of Hello Flawless, inside on top you also get a sample of the Professional. I don't know if anyone's ever used this priming product or not before, but it's actually really awesome. It is a primer, but it's like, it's really, really good for blurring out extremely, extremely large pores. So if you're like me and like you have large pores on your nose and your cheeks, it's so good for using that. Okay, let's get started. So I am going to, now that my face is all prepped, I am going to start applying some of the foundation. I'm doing 1 pump on my hand for right now, just to see like how much that I need. With my foundation brush, I am actually going to go in here. There's lots of options when it comes to foundation brushes. I'm going to talk about it on another video so that you guys can learn really which tool will be the best tool for you. But I'm actually going to be going with the classic one. It's the Lancome's number brush number 2 for foundation, and it is a synthetic fiber. I also like to say in my last dewy skin tutorial, I made a mistake. And the foundation brush that's from Smashbox is actually a silk synthetic, so it's not actually a real animal hair, but most of the other brushes in that line are a real animal hair. So with this foundation, I'm loading up my brush. So I'm loading both sides of my brush with the foundation, and I'm going to be doing long strokes, just like I did in the other video. I want to kind of create a base and create a palette for the foundation. The awesome thing though is, like, it blows my mind away with this product, is that how sheer it is. Like, when I put it on, I don't feel it, and it doesn't, like, you don't get that heavy feel with the foundation. So if people are, like, on the more sensitive side, or they just hate the feel of makeup on their face, I think they would really, 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 really like this product. A little bit more on my hand here. So notice how underneath of my eye I am stippling again. So like I said with this product that it's buildable on top of each other, when you stipple it, you get more coverage. So notice how here in my cheekbone area, I had a lot of redness at the beginning, so I'm actually going to stipple that foundation right into my redness. Just watch it disappear. I love doing like half and halves because I find it so funny, like when you notice the difference between like one side and the other, like how big of a change it is. And I also pardon if the foundation doesn't match exactly perfectly because this summer I bike everywhere, so I get really, really tanned, I find, compared to my regular transparent self. Look at that. Look at the two differences of the sides. And that's just with the liquid foundation. This is a pretty long wearing foundation anyway, and if you want to relieve a bit of that little bit of a satin glow, I wouldn't recommend putting a product on top of it. Now, sometimes people like a little bit more coverage and more of a matte look. I'm going to recommend two products. They're by the same company, but they're one of my favorite products in the entire world. It's called Cover FX. If you haven't heard of it, it is a Canadian brand of makeup, but it is also carried at Sephora in the States, and I also believe London, England carries it. The two products I'm going to be recommending is one, it's called their Powder Effects. So this is it's almost like a foundation powder. It definitely gives you a full coverage wear. You can wear this product just with a primer on its own to get a medium to full coverage as well. And then also you can use matte effects. If you really want a mattifying look, stick this over top of your foundation. It is like almost a translucent powder, so it doesn't really give you much coverage, but if you just want to mattify this a little bit, you can stick this on top of it. Which I'm going to do today. I really feel like I've achieved enough coverage with the foundation on its own that I don't need more coverage from the Cover FX powder. So I'm going just to be sticking a bit of this matte effects on. Now the cool thing with this product is that it's almost it's a starch base. So what that does is it helps to absorb oils in the skin. It also helps to control the oils. So as you're going out throughout the day, instead of you getting shiny, the little kind of starches absorb the oils, then they're like little tiny balls, and they just sort of absorb them on the face, and then they wash away at nighttime. They can't go into the pore. The whole great thing with this product line, it's non-comedogenic, it's PETA approved, so it's not tested on animals, and there's no animal byproducts in the products either, which is awesome. And the only way to get the PETA stamp is that all of your ingredients, even where they're sourced, cannot come in contact with animal byproducts, be tested on animals, or contain any animal byproducts. So I really, really appreciate this company for going to that extent, because it's silly. It's 2012. Why are we still testing on animals? I think it's horrible. So I am going to be going in. You can either go in with a few different types of powder brushes. This one is the Lancome's Mineral Powder Brush. It's so soft. If you've never used this brush before, it's like definitely my favorite powder brush. This is the Cover FX one of it's more of like their scalp. They say it for cream foundation, but I actually love using it for powder. And this one is the Lancome No. 7 brush. The cool thing with this is that it has a flat top. So it's better, I find, if you're applying, like if you really want to get that airbrush kind of look, is using that. Or if you want to stipple your product and using a flat top brush, you'll achieve an amazing look on the skin. But because I'm just mattifying, I'm going to be using my fluffy mineral brush. So I'm just going to dust it in the product here. And you'll notice, like with this product, you can never really use too much. Like I'm just loading at the end of my brush, and then I'm just going to pat it into the skin. You can apply it everywhere you want on the skin. And just notice how it's just taking that sheen away that was on the product. And there you go. And this will also act as like a setting powder, so it's awesome for that. Alright, and we're almost finished. I'm going to go in just to make sure, because I have these little funny creases underneath of my eyes that I find always set, and I'm just going to apply a little bit underneath here just to make sure that all stays nice and smooth. And voila! So there we go, guys. There's a super quick, super easy, full coverage, matte makeup look. I hope you can try it at home. If you have any questions, comment below, and I look forward to hearing your responses. Have an amazing day, and I hope you learned something. Bye! Mwah!